series of recent events in our immediate family happened to take place about the same time I gained access to a microphone in the Iowa Senate. And those events left me with a message about a matter that's very, very important to me, and that's the matter of the right to life. And even though I was a few steps out of my comfort zone on last Tuesday, I simply couldn't remain silent. This is an abbreviated version of that message that I gave to the Iowa Senate. I want to tell you the story of Dustin Jake. Dustin was conceived in late 1986 by his mother, Christy, and a father who denied responsibility. Christy's circumstances were very difficult. She was 15 years old, pregnant, drinking heavily, using any drugs she could get her hands on, and had been kicked out of her home. Somehow, and I don't know this part of the story, Christy found her way from Rochester to a place called the Lighthouse in Kansas City. The Lighthouse is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide a home, prenatal care, work skills training, counseling, and delivery services to young, scared girls like Christy. About half of the children born at the Lighthouse go home with their mothers, and about half are placed in adoptive homes. None are aborted. When Dustin Jake was born in August of 1987, Christy went back to Rochester with her new son. After caring for him for about 3 months, she decided she could not properly raise this child on her own. So she went back to the Lighthouse for about a month, where they counseled her in the agonizing process of giving Dustin Jake up for adoption. She chose an adoptive family and gave up her parental rights. The adopting parents were delighted with their new baby. Finally, having a second child they so desperately wanted to complete their family. They named him Matthew Eli. Matt, like his big sister, was a delightful baby, but unlike his sister, he proved to be a very difficult child to raise. School was difficult for Matt, but he muddled through with barely passing grades until partway through his senior year of high school, and he dropped out. He did eventually earn his GED. All Matt ever wanted to do was join the U.S. Army. His mother wasn't very fond of that idea, but his father simply told him if he was going to be a soldier, to be a good soldier. He was trained as an Army paratrooper. After returning from his second deployment to Afghanistan last August, he was married in Anchorage, Alaska, and he remains at Fort Richardson today. So why am I telling this story? As all of you, or some of you have maybe guessed by now, my wife and I have another name for Matt. We're proud to call him our son. And the reason I'm telling you this story is really quite simple. Matt is an able-bodied, tax-paying citizen serving his country in the Army because the Lighthouse in Kansas City provided a solution for Christy's difficult situation. They provided a home for a young, scared, addicted, pregnant teenage girl. They took care of her prenatal needs, her emotional needs, her delivery and her baby. Then they identified an adoptive family that could love and raise her son. Somehow we've reduced the debate about abortion to one simple phrase: the woman's right to choose. And I acknowledge and respect and honor that right. But after conception, there's another often inconvenient factor in the equation that many like to overlook. And that factor, of course, is the little baby. The life of the baby is a reality, no matter how difficult the circumstances. I believe we must also acknowledge and respect and honor that second life. That's why we must offer more choices than simply the choice between life and death. Today, my challenge to you, and this was my challenge to the Iowa Senate, is to listen to the voice of the unborn child whose mother is contemplating abortion. Maybe it's hard to hear right now, but in the quiet of the night, when all the other voices have fallen silent, you can hear that voice. The voice may be very soft, and maybe some can't hear it at all, but it's there. I hear it loud and clear. For many, that voice is deafening. If it could speak, that quiet voice maybe would say something like this: Mom, I'd like to say a couple things about this tough spot we're in. But as leaders in the state of Iowa, we can deal with the issue of abortion in a better way. Let's stop using this as a political football. Let's each of us ask ourselves if we're part of the problem or part of the solution. Let's stop asking who's right and start asking what's right. Let's stop following the hardened lines of partisanship and find a new path, a path that leads us to a better place in the years ahead. Let's show that Iowa can be a model for dealing with the issue of unplanned and unwanted pregnancies in a responsible, positive way. Our young pregnant teenagers and their unborn children deserve nothing less. And now the final piece of my story. A few weeks ago, our new daughter-in-law, Whitney, had started searching for Matt's birth mother for family medical history reasons. Last Tuesday, on Tuesday the 12th, my wife called me and told me to look at an email. There, for the first time, I saw the face of Christy, Matt's birth mother. On Wednesday, while I was on the Senate floor, I got a call from Whitney, our daughter-in-law, and she called to tell me she had just talked to Christy on the phone. Christy was ecstatic. On Thursday, Valentine's Day, Matt called his birth mother. And when she picked up the phone, instead of hearing the silent, haunting voice of an unborn child that she might have terminated 25 years ago, she heard the strong voice of her firstborn son. Then Matt called his adopted mother and thanked her and me for adopting him. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do better.